Tonight, let's talk truth.
President of the People's National Party, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much. This is not intended as a political meeting, although it is being put on by the People's National Party. It is a community meeting which is designed to engage in what we believe in, which is participatory democracy. So this is an opportunity for us to share some ideas with the audience who is here. Some of them are people involved in politics. Many of you are not. Many of you are citizens in a variety of walks of life. We have heard business people, civil servants, and no doubt many other professionals, and so on. And that is really what the People's National Party is about in terms of how we practice politics. Jamaica is facing a general election shortly, which will be another opportunity for the people of this country, in particular those who are registered voters, to express their will as to how the country should move forward. Our country is facing numerous challenges. We have, of course, many accomplishments of which we must be proud. Perhaps the biggest one is the sustainability of our public finances, which over the last decade, across administrations, decade and a half really, a considerable effort has been made from administration to follow through on certain commitments that were written into the law under the Portia Simpson-Miller administration, the fiscal rules and the fiscal responsibility framework. And because of our steadfastness and the continuity of policy, we have seen where Jamaica's public debt, which when we took government in 2012, was at an unsustainably high level of over 140% of GDP, has now been brought down within that period of time to somewhere just below 70% of GDP. This is a significant national achievement, though because of the nature of it, it's somewhat abstract and not everybody can really grasp it or understand it or feel it. But it is that which enables us to do so much more in government than was possible when our debt was eating up the lion's share of our budgetary resources each year. So this is a good platform on which Jamaica can move forward. However, we have many challenges that are holding us back. And we have not seen, despite those improvements in the public debt, we have not seen our economy take off. In fact, our economy is relatively stagnant. The rate of growth, which we have seen over the last 10 years, has really been minuscule. We have never even achieved 3% growth in a single year. And in several years, we've had rates of growth less than 1%, and last year we had negative growth, contributed to by the hurricane that hit us in July and the travel advisory that went out early in 2024, which had an impact on the tourism market and affected our arrivals and our room rates. But there's a broader question then. How is it that we have a stronger financial base as a country? We have good reserves, we have managed to bring unemployment down according to the official statistics. Inflation is relatively low and so on, yet we can't produce growth. And the lack of growth means that the wealth per capita of our people, the wealth, if you share it among our whole population, our wealth is around 7,000 US per year is how much we generate annually. And this is way less than peers in the Caribbean region. I'm not even looking at Cayman and Bermuda and those countries. Looking at countries like Trinidad, Guyana, Barbados, Antigua, St. Lucia, we are 2, 3, 4 times less well off than they are. And this is unacceptable because our situation is not that different to theirs. They're not blessed. Well, Guyana has recently been blessed with oil and gas, and Trinidad has had it for a while. But generally speaking, the economies across the region have somewhat similar circumstances, yet we are underperforming. And we see it in many different aspects of life. We see it in the poor transportation system. We see it in the public health system being underfunded and under-resourced. We see it in the public education system not getting the necessary investments to transition from low performance to high performance. So we have to build a strong economy, and the People's National Party is absolutely dedicated to proper fiscal management, but also to looking at what we can do from a strategic perspective to increase the productivity of our nation, make our people better able to take on the jobs of the 21st century and grow wealth in the country. In order to achieve this, we feel that it's absolutely necessary that ethics, values and attitudes, a strong moral foundation must be at the center of how we govern. We do not accept that Jamaican politics should be something which the average person out there feels is a dirty game, where they have no trust in their politicians. Scandals, cronyism, nepotism going on year in, year out. The next PNP government under my leadership, people can have trust and confidence in. And this is central to how we will operate, because we need the buy-in of all Jamaica for Jamaica to move forward. Some of our problems cannot be solved by partisan politics or even by government acting alone. Some are also engaging with the wider population to get their buy-in and their participation, because some of the problems are very deep and need a full 100 behind it to make a difference. I intend under the next PNP government, under my leadership, to take the leadership role in really looking at how the bureaucracy functions and how we can make it more user-friendly, an easier place for people to come and invest, an easier place for people to do business, and a less frustrating environment for people to interact in whatever area it may be that you deal with the public sector. And so that is part, invest your money and have a safe environment in which to operate, and a country that is governed by the rule of law, business which is transparent and accountable. So we plan to take a new approach to governance, an approach to governance that is inclusive, that is participatory, that is respectful, into account environmental issues. Right now we have a situation where the environmental agency of the country, NEPA, is housed within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. That is a clear conflict of interest, because the role of an environmental, that development is done in an environmentally sustainable way. And therefore they need to have some independence so they can carry out that critical function without being compromised that. And there are other issues that we intend to deal with when it comes to the environment. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not an evening for long speeches by us. Each of us is going to say a few words, and then we'll open up the floor for questioning. I hope that we'll have a very enjoyable and interesting interaction before we close off. I just think that is what we have to say, interested in the future of our great, beautiful country, Jamaica. Thank you very much.
Jamaica does not currently maintain a borrowing arrangement with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. But the country still maintains a precautionary standby facility in case of a major economic shock. Additionally, the IMF regularly carries out Article 4 consultations with all member countries. As part of its latest assessment, the fund says over the last decade, Jamaica has successfully reduced its public debt, firmly anchored inflation and inflation expectations, and strengthened its external position. The multilateral says the country has built an enviable track record of investing in institutions and prioritizing macroeconomic stability. It says Jamaica has met recent global shocks and natural disasters in a manner that is agile, prudent, and supportive of growth. The fund says GDP declined in the last fiscal year due to Hurricane Beryl and Tropical Storm Raphael, which damaged agriculture and infrastructure and undermined tourism. Nonetheless, the IMF says economic activity is projected to normalize as these effects wane. It highlights that unemployment has fallen to an all-time low level at 3.7% in January 2025, and inflation has converged to the Bank of Jamaica's target band of 4 to 6%. The IMF says the outlook points to growth settling at its potential rate once the recovery is complete, and with inflation stabilizing at the BOJ's target range. However, the fund warns that global developments require continued close monitoring. The multilateral says the Jamaican authorities continue to implement sound macroeconomic policies aided by robust policy frameworks. It says the current fiscal monetary policy mix places Jamaica in a good position to respond to the various downside risks should they be realized. Siobhan Campbell, for Nation.